The federal justice minister is now calling for a new trial for that man, retired Quebec judge Jacques Delisle, the first and indeed only Canadian judge ever convicted of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison back in 2012 for murdering his wife. He insisted all along that he did not kill his wife, that she actually took her own life. And now the question, has there been, as the Justice Minister suggested, a miscarriage of justice? Now, if this story sounds familiar to you and you remember seeing it covered here on CBC News, it's because of the work of Mark Kelley, who's been investigating this for years with the Fifth Estate in concert with Radio-Canada and their program Enquête. Mark is here with these latest developments. And Mark, again, that statement from David Lametti, what more did he say, and what does this mean to the case?
Well, it's pretty extraordinary, Heather, to see a breakthrough like this in the case, and a breakthrough that I must say has taken even Jacques Delisle by surprise, and his lawyer James Lockyer, who's been working for years to get this. And what the federal minister, Justice Minister Lametti, has said is that there is very likely being a miscarriage of justice in this case. Saying that, and this is not to say that what he's looking at is that there's new information here that really requires a new trial be held for Jacques Delisle. Now, this is extraordinary, Heather, because this is a rare occurrence in Canada. By our own calculation, we were just doing the math on this at the Fifth Estate. Since 2012, there have been about 160 requests for the federal justice minister to get involved to order a new trial in a case. 160 requests since 2012. Only 6 of those remedies have actually been agreed to by the federal justice minister. It's very rare. It has to be based on the fact that there's new information that wasn't presented to the court in the original trial, and that was back in 2012, as you mentioned. And this is new information that James Lockyer is saying is that what was failed to be detected in the autopsy about the trajectory of the bullet that went into Madame Rainville's head. What it all pivots down to, Heather, is the fact who pulled the trigger. There's no doubt that Nicole Rainville died from a single bullet shot wound to the head. The question was, who pulled the trigger? Was it her or was it somebody else? Based on the trajectory of the bullet, based on the angle of the wound, based on the 10 experts that James Lockyer has gathered together, they have made the case that all information points to the fact that this was death by suicide.
Mark, when you mentioned James Lockyer, he's someone known nationally as being closely associated with many of Canada's cases of wrongful conviction, acting on those people's behalf. What role did he play in getting this new trial for Jacques Delisle?
Well, it played a huge role. And, you know, just as rare as it is to have the federal justice minister order a new trial, it's pretty rare for James Lockyer to get him on your case. But that's what Jacques Delisle was able to do back in 2014 when he had contacted Lockyer. Lockyer looked at the original information and he signed onto the case. That's how we got involved with the Fifth Estate back in 2015. We were able to get an interview with Jacques Delisle in the maximum security prison where he was being held, where he professed his innocence. And James Lockyer, the lawyer, all along, and he's been this champion for the wrongly convicted. During our conversation yesterday, Heather, it should be noted that Guy Paul Morin, of course, also someone famously wrongly convicted, he called during the middle of our interview because he wanted to talk to James about this breakthrough. There's a community of people in Canada who've been the wrongly convicted that James Lockyer has helped exonerate, and he hopes that Jacques Delisle will be the next one added to that. So what Lockyer has been able to do is go out and get these 10 experts to prove the case, as I mentioned before, that this does look like, if it's not absolutely a case of suicide, that is more likely a case of suicide than homicide. He's presented this information to the Criminal Conviction Review Group. That's part of the group that's part of the Federal Justice Minister's Department. They've been reviewing this information, Heather, now for 7 years. 7 years. And think about this, in case there was, in fact, that a wrongful conviction here and a miscarriage of justice. 7 years Jacques Delisle has been in prison awaiting this moment where he could get a new trial. So yesterday I spoke with James Lockyer, as I mentioned, and here's what he had to say.
Taken 9 years out of this man's life. It was a terrible miscarriage of justice. And I want him to live his remaining days without this hanging over his head.
So here's what happens next, Heather. Tomorrow, James Lockyer will be going to the Quebec Superior Court in Quebec City to request Jacques Delisle's bail. That shouldn't be a problem. He should be granted bail given the fact that there has been this ordering of a new trial. However, here's the key point. Will there be a new trial? That now rests in the hands of the Quebec Crown. They can make the decision. Do we pursue this new trial, or do we issue a stay of proceedings, which is to say, do we simply drop it? Jacques Delisle is turning 86 next month. Do they drop the case and move on and end the judge's legal odyssey, or do they pursue it? We'll probably find that out tomorrow.
Okay, Mark, we'll be following it then for sure. Thank you very much.